Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Carrying on with the content videos from Any News on Tower of God. We're on episode 10. And this is called The Time Khun Tried to Help Rachel. So, see where this is. So this is after Rachel got stabbed. I'm trying to remember the episodes now, because this is near the end. Well, after Rachel got stabbed, and Khun's, like, thinking how to help. Well, he's worrying what's going to happen to Bam, really, isn't he? Right, anyway, let's see what's,
Episode 10 is where Tower of God starts to diverge a lot from how the webtoon intended it to be portrayed.
Right.
In the anime, we only got to see a fraction of Khun's actual genius.
Oh.
There was a whole lot more to his plan than what we were actually shown, including a fairly in-depth look into why he did everything this way in the first place. Not only that, but there was also more backstory behind Bam's reasoning for following Rachel.
Oh,
plus
cool.
His reveal behind the true nature of the floor of test.
Whoa.
All of which we'll go through in this video. So, let's begin. Episode 10, Beyond the Sadness.
Beyond
Covering
the
chapter
Sadness.
52 to chapter 59 of the webtoon.
Wow, that's a few chapters.
Starting with the scene in the cafeteria, the atmosphere was a lot more somber due to the results of the test being blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Khun and Endodasi could be seen sharing each other's company. Well, barely. They really only said a few words with regards to how the test had ended.
Huh.
You see, Endodasi was aware that Khun had planned for his team to lose, but she didn't actually believe that it was something that he'd be able to pull off.
Oh, but he
That's why
did,
Khun
so
was
she's
a
like,
little
oh.
upset that Endodasi didn't keep up her own end of the promise.
Oh.
Apparently she had made a deal with Khun to prevent Bam from meeting with Rachel. If she had actually kept her end of the deal, then Khun's plan would have been perfect. Unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. Even though Khun had meticulously planned every step, because Bam ended up meeting with Rachel, to him the end result was a complete failure.
Oh, mate.
Now, the anime didn't explain what Khun's overall plan really was.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, we know he made his own team bail in order to help his friends on the other team.
Yep.
But there was actually one objective that stood above all else, and that was the one to save Rachel from home. So, Khun setting up his own team for failure wasn't just the stepping stones to facilitate Team B's success, but it was also to ensure that Bam had a reason to continue up the tower. As for why he would go so far, well, that's something that we'll get to in a few moments.
There's so much!
Now, everyone else still believed that Khun blamed himself for the loss. I mean, Khun did a really good job selling the act that he regretted making the decisions that he did.
Yeah.
So, there was a scene where Shibasu tries to make him feel better. He wanted Khun to feel like it wasn't his fault that their team lost the game. If someone was going to fail the test because of it, there was no reason that he should have to shoulder the blame of having caused it. You see, Shibasu believed that Khun gave his all, and because of that, he felt that nobody had a right to be faulting Khun for trying his best. Sure, it would have been worth it had Endodasi kept Bam away from Rachel, but now Khun wasn't so sure anymore.
Oh, nah.
I mean, Bam had found who he was looking for.
So what other reasons does he have?
Bam no longer had any reason to keep climbing
Yeah,
the tower.
makes sense.
Especially since Rachel likely failed the test. If she wasn't going to climb the tower, then there was definitely no way that Bam would either.
Yeah, Bam ain't going
This
if
was
she
the
ain't going.
only thing
Right.
that would have guaranteed Bam's climb. And that's exactly what Khun tried to make happen. He went through all that work, failed his own test, and even manipulated a ranker just so that he could save Rachel. As for why he did it, well, that brings us to a scene that explains a bit more about Khun's past. To another flashback involving the girl Maria.
Right.
If you don't remember, Maria is technically one of Khun's sisters.
Sisters, yeah.
But because the only thing related to them is their father, it was as if they weren't even related at all. Remember, the Khun family has many different branches, each of which are led by a different wife to the main head, Edwan Khun. But because Khun was a rather talented child, he was able to grow up as part of the main family. A place in which it was very common
he
to
was
see his
betrayed.
relatives fight over power every single day. However, there was one person who stood out in this constant conflict as an
Maria.
outlier. Maria. She always treated others with kindness and respect. Unlike everyone else, she truly cared for the people around her. That's why Khun believed that she deserved to become a princess. If anyone within the Khun family was allowed to be happy, Khun felt that it had to be her. Despite it being his duty to his own branch to get his full biological sister into that position, Khun still made it so that Maria was the one to become the princess. It's what he personally wanted to do. The thing is, ever since that day, something within his heart has been missing. Just like with the hide-and-seek test, everything went according to his plan. So it didn't make sense to feel like there was this overwhelming gap inside.
Something not
Khun just
quite
couldn't
right.
understand what it was he lost when he sent Maria to become a princess. But he knew that the reason he was climbing the tower was to figure out what that was. Not only that, but he also thought that perhaps by watching Bam and Rachel's peculiar relationship,
He could learn
just
something.
might be able to find what it is he's looking for.
Yeah.
He wanted to continue to observe Bam chase after Rachel, all while Rachel looked after Bam. But he never had any intention of letting Bam catch up to her. At least not until he found whatever it was he needed to find. It was a reason deeply rooted within his own selfish desires, just like the situation with Maria.
Yeah, right.
In any case, this was all stuff that Khun was telling to Rak. And though he couldn't personally understand what it was he felt he was missing, Rak already knew exactly what it was. He immediately recognized the faults within Khun's supposed perfect planning. You see, knowing that Maria was someone special, Rak wouldn't have sent her away to the king. If being by the king's side was a position that he felt she was truly worthy of having, then Rak would have killed the king with his own hands and made himself the king.
Oh.
That way the person sitting next to him would have been the person he wanted to be with. Instead of
Oh,
letting
wow,
him go to
okay.
someone else, Rak would have fought for this supposedly
To
special
let them sit
person.
next to him.
He was essentially trying to say that what Khun was missing was his balls. Of course, Rak's mindset was one that Khun just couldn't quite
Couldn't understand, right.
But I
Damn.
think the problem was that both sides couldn't
That
really
gives Rak,
comprehend
that makes
what
me see Rak like
Though
he's
Rak
even
was
cooler,
certainly giving
dude.
Khun something worth thinking about. And that was that he should be fighting for the person he wants to be by his side.
Yeah.
It may already be too late with Maria, but he can definitely still fight
For Bam.
towards staying with Bam.
Yeah.
In any case, that's when Bam came in to tell the two that he would continue up the tower. Not for his own personal reasons,
But for Rachel.
just because he wanted to help Rachel achieve her goal. So, hearing Bam ask for help to climb the tower made Khun finally realize what it was he was missing. He should have asked Maria the exact same thing that Bam was asking of him here. He should have asked to go with her up the tower. An option he didn't even realize
Consider.
existed up until
Yeah.
now.
Damn.
Anyway, given that Khun was going to help Bam help Rachel, that meant they needed to figure out how to get Rachel to participate in the next test. A job that Khun felt was best suited to him. In the meantime, though, Bam would have to work towards getting stronger and building a bigger team with people that he could trust.
Yes.
And Rak was designated as the group's leader.
Oh, he looks so
After this,
happy.
there
He's
was
a happy
scene
boy.
involving Serena and Shibasu, in which we gain insight into how Serena views Bam's peculiar nature.
Huh.
You see, she understood why it was Ho hated Bam because she too saw just how different Bam really was. He was the type of person who could stay focused on a single goal, one that wasn't related to climbing
The tower, like everybody else.
And the
Yeah.
progress he made was one that no one could seem to keep up with. It eventually got to the point where Serena felt that she couldn't beat him no matter what. This led to feelings of
Defeated.
both envy and bitterness, feelings that could only be directed towards Bam. The thing is, Serena likely wasn't the only person feeling that way.
Probably not.
Everyone else was watching Bam from a distance, but very few would ever want to interact with him because of how much he stands out. He was just too different from the rest of them. That's why when he tried to recruit people to his team with the purpose of helping Rachel, none would even give him the time of day. The only one who would actually make a conversation with him was Endodisi. She wanted to know why
She's
Bam
cool.
was so obsessed with Rachel, to know what it was that made her so special.
What's with the EIE
When Endodisi
symbols?
saw
They're
Rachel
everywhere.
for the first time, she too felt that something was different about her. That's what made her want to be on her team. But after
Excuse
watching
me.
Rachel proceed through more and more of the tests, Endodisi finally realized that she was nothing more than an ordinary girl. So, Bam then told Endodisi what he told Rachel here in the anime. He began with a story of how he first met Rachel. Before Bam even knew who anyone was, he lived in a world of complete darkness except for one single light above him.
Damn.
In order to
That's
reach that
depressing.
light, Bam decided to build a tower of rubble. But when he finally arrived at the top, he quickly realized that nothing he would do to the light would allow him to leave. It was clear that whoever locked him into this world of darkness wanted him to stay there.
Stay there. Wow,
So
okay.
Bam
God.
didn't do anything but cry at the realization that he was completely alone.
This is sad.
No amount of physical pain could compare to the emotional distress that came from having to accept that he could be by himself forever. Fortunately, that all changed when one day the ceiling began to move. As the light above him began to grow bigger and bigger, eventually a girl could be seen emerging from it.
Rachel.
It was after this very moment that Bam began to experience life as a human being. He finally had a companion who could save him from his lonely world of isolation.
No.
That's why Bam decided he would follow Rachel wherever she
Yep.
went. I mean, he pretty much feels like Rachel saved his life. And that was something Bam created a serious bond over. Now, switching over to Khun's conversation with Lidodo, this was where the most revealing parts of the episode were cut out.
Okay, go
We
on.
were supposed to see exactly how Khun set everything up before the test. His entire plan as it was made from the very beginning. Something that wasn't ever fully explained. It starts in a very similar way to the anime. Hwa-Yun met with Khun to plant the seeds of suspicion. There wasn't any proof to back up what she was saying about Ho, but something about the way she said it made it seem as if she wasn't lying. So, just in case Hwa-Yun was in fact correct, Khun set up various precautions prior to the test.
Right.
He bribed one of his classmates into monitoring Ho for any odd
Oh,
behavior.
cool.
It was the guy that we saw a few chapters
Oh!
in the room next to
Right,
Ho's.
okay, go ahead. Yeah,
He
cool,
was the
cool.
one that told Khun that someone had left
So
some
that was
sort of note in
important.
Ho's room.
Ah.
Not only that, but he also mentioned that something about Michelle Light had come up as a topic. So this spurred Khun to sneak into Ho's room and to find that note. After confirming what it said, Khun immediately went to Rachel to tell her that she was being targeted.
Ah.
Now, Khun consulting Rachel before anyone else may seem like rather odd behavior. But remember, Khun didn't yet have any ill will towards Rachel.
No.
In fact,
Got no reason
he
to.
didn't even suspect her of being up to anything nefarious. So he saw no issue with talking to Rachel about the current situation. He also wanted to know if he should go and tell Bam as well. But Rachel refused to allow Bam to know what was
Don't
happening
tell
since
him.
she didn't want him to get hurt anymore.
Yeah.
She told Khun that it was better if she was the only one to get hurt. I mean, she was the one trying to go up the tower after all.
Yeah,
So
Bam
she felt
just
her
wanting to
problems
follow
should
her.
be her responsibility alone. But knowing this was something that Bam would never accept, Khun decided to find a way to help both Rachel and Bam move up the tower without either having to get hurt. It was a task that became exponentially harder when he found out he wasn't on either of their teams. That's why he had to seek out Endorsi for her
And Dorothy,
assistance.
right.
Khun was very straight to the point when he confronted her. In exchange for helping her with her own goals, all she had to do was keep
Protect
Bam away
Bam.
from Rachel.
Right.
Initially, Endorsi saw no point in getting caught up in other people's business. But once she saw what exactly it was that Khun was trying to do, she decided it may not be so bad to go along with it. After
It might actually
the next
help.
step for Khun was to convince Lowry to betray his team. This was actually fairly easy because he was already invested in seeing more of Bam's potential. That was the last step that needed to be taken prior to the test. But there was still one final thing that Khun needed to do.
Right.
And it was arguably the hardest part of the entire plan. While taking his own test, Khun needed to manipulate Quant.
Yeah.
But that wasn't as simple as they made it seem in the anime. Khun didn't just tell Quant to watch out for Ho. No, Khun was out here doing some 4D chess maneuvers while everyone else was still playing checkers.
Alright, cool.
You see, he made it seem as if he was teaming up with Ho to take out Rachel. Khun straight up told Quant that in exchange for making his own team lose, then Ho would take out Rachel. He wanted Quant to believe that he'd just guaranteed himself a passing position since the best-seeded Lightbearer was about to be taken out in the next test. Remember, because Rachel performed so well in a previous test, she was given best seed points as a Lightbearer.
Oh.
This all went towards making Quant think that he'd been had. But it was actually reverse psychology into making Quant do everything he could to foil Khun's supposed plan. Because he'd just been so humiliated, Quant vowed to do everything he could to prevent Rachel from being taken out.
Because he doesn't want to, like, get...
To him, that would be his way of getting back at Khun. The thing is, this was exactly
What
how
he
Khun
wanted.
wanted Quant
Yeah.
to react.
Clever man.
He
Clever
was
man.
basically using Quant's ego against him in order to get a ranker to protect Rachel. It was a plan that ensured both Bam and Rachel would be safe since the two would be protected by the strongest people in the area. A princess and a ranker.
A ranker. God.
All in all, this was actually incredibly ingenious.
Jeez, he is a
Much more
clever
planning
man.
and manipulation was put into this than how the anime made it seem. But despite everything he did to make it happen, there was still one fatal flaw in the overall plan. And that was failing to understand how Bam would choose to react. In any case, it was inevitable that the note sent to Ho would have to come to light eventually. It needed to be put out there that someone who wasn't a regular was trying to prevent Bam.
Yes, someone's messing about.
Leading us now into the scene involving Ren and Yu.
Oh.
There was a couple additional topics that Ren was reporting on. He referred to Bam as someone who was worthy of receiving the symbol of the Triple Eye. We're not entirely sure what that meant, but it was something that required Bam to become a ranker first. The other topic that Ren
Interesting.
mentioned was a brief
Lore.
report on
Lore.
Yu's suspicious behavior. He wasn't sure what exactly it was that Yu was up to, but he was definitely plotting something.
Something.
with that.
He's up to something.
What made him such a suspicious person in the first place was when he declined an offer to become a high ranker. This was a prestigious title that would have placed you in the top 1% of all rankers in the tower.
Damn.
Normally there wouldn't be any reason to refuse such an offer.
But
It's because he did that Ren started to suspect Yu at all. Now, even though Yu didn't seem to show any interest in fighting Ren, he was actually rather excited to go head-to-head with him. The reason that he didn't engage any further, though, was
Oh,
because
that
he
looks
just
cooler
wasn't
than in the
quite
anime.
time to. But eventually that time would come. And with a tsunami that would shake the very foundations of the tower. This was a line that served as a clue towards Yu's overall plan. You see, after Yu's encounter with Ren, there was another scene with Yu and Lidodo where Yu further explains why the floor of test is necessary. We've heard him say before that it was in order to determine which regulars could potentially endanger the tower. But the reason they even have to do that in the first place is because of the irregulars that came before them.
Because eliminating threats to the tower is important, isn't it?
The tests used to be run like how they were on all the other floors. A single task that needed to be completed in order to make it to the next stage. But it was after the irregular Phantaminum appeared that this new, more complex test format was implemented. What the anime didn't tell us was that Phantaminum had invaded Jihad's personal castle, killing many of his high rankers in the process. This was the first instance of someone in the tower rivaling the current hierarchy.
Okay,
but
right.
There came another irregular who did the same, Urek Menzino. Except he didn't lead a destructive raid on Jihad's palace. Instead, he set up his own powerful group within the tower, which has since gained significant influence. So much so that even the 10 families have started to fear them. It was through these incidents that the current rulers of the tower realized that their power could be challenged, potentially even overthrown. So that's why the floor of test became what it is today.
That's sick!
To weed out those who possess mysterious powers or evil intent that could possibly endanger.
And then find them, identify them, and then wow.
Test is to see if people are worthy to climb the tower, but really it's all to prevent the tower from falling into chaos. A seawall to prevent a tsunami.
Makes sense. God, they should have shown that.
Anyway, everything after
at least some mention of it.
The only thing they changed was Khun's little act with Rank. Although Shibasu had called them out on their poor performance in the anime, in the webtoon, Khun actually succeeded in tricking everyone into thinking that helping Bam was the most morally correct option. It's actually very believable that someone from the 10 families like Khun would abandon Bam for being an irregular. I mean, irregulars pose a significant threat to the very power the 10 families possess. So, him helping someone like Bam could bear significant consequences to his standing within the Khun family. And that's what he tricked everyone into believing. It made it so that no one would want to be on the same side as someone selfish enough to abandon their closest friend. And although Rack's addition to the performance wasn't planned, he knew exactly what Khun was trying to do. So, him storming off alone to go help Bam was one of the factors that swayed everyone's decision. But yeah, that's pretty much episode 10.
Damn.
As you can tell, this is where a lot of the story starts to leave behind significant plot points, especially ones that serve to develop each of the characters and their motivations. Anyway, I'm not sure yet when I'm going to be doing episode 11 or 12, but they will get made eventually. Until then, though, feel free to check out the ReZero Cut content that I'm doing weekly. But yeah,
I might check out a couple of those once I start watching Season 2 ReZero. I'm currently finding I like binging shows rather than watching them weekly. Like, I really enjoyed finishing off Sword Art Online, although when Kirito came back I was just like, Jesus Christ. But, as in, like, it was so lame. But, yeah, I enjoyed that, and then I've binged The God of High School. I've just got the one episode to watch now, though. And so, yeah, I might watch some of those ReZero Cut content videos. As I'm watching ReZero. God, sorry, excuse me. This is because I get up early to record my videos before going to work. Thank you guys very much for watching. I think we've just got the ending explained, which I can't wait to check that out, and then the positions explained. Thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.